Well, you're right. Joe even mentioned this when he started. If you don't have Bahia grass, you're going to have it. If you've improved your pasture into something else other than Bahia grass, you'll have it again. It's just one of those things that we do fight even when we don't want it. We have got married 2 months ago. See what happened? Okay, so we have 3 new herbicides I want to talk to you about. One's been around for a couple of years. It's called Outrider, and this is labeled for Bermuda grass and established Bermuda grass and Bahia grass pastures only. Use rate's 1.33 ounces per acre. We are working with Monsanto, hoping to get the label expanded for stargrass and Hermonthria. And we're also looking at using this at establishment instead of relying on Weedmaster for stargrass or Bermuda grass or Banva or Dicamba for Hermonthria. We'll have Outrider to use. A little bit more expensive, but by and far a lot more active on our early weeds when we're trying to establish a pasture. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we'll have that in the next couple of years, and that's all I can say about that one. More recently, we had a herbicide labeled by BASF called Trial H2O. This one is for dormant Bermuda grass pastures only. So this is more for your hay producers in the crowd. If you have a lot of annual weeds like goosegrass, crabgrass, sandbur, this is a product that may help you. 3 quarts per acre is the rate. It's going to be somewhat expensive. I can't remember the actual cost per acre at that rate. 60-day hay, 45-day grazing restriction. So that kind of limits us. But again, remember, this is a dormant application only. So this is going to go out at the latest February, middle March. So it gives you a window there. We'll have activity on broadleaf weeds. Guinea grass, if you've established a new pasture in an old growth bed, this could be an option for you as well. Because we don't have many materials that will selectively take out Guinea grass and Bermuda grass or stargrass. I'm sorry, can you guys not hear me at all? Okay. Thanks, Maria. You've probably been back there waving and I wasn't paying attention. The last herbicide I'd like to talk about is Pastora. This one was just labeled this year as well, sold by DuPont Crop Protection. And this is, frankly, a herbicide mixture we have not had a lot of experience with so far in South Florida, but we are continuing to look at it. It is a combination of Accent, which is a product that came from the corn market for grass weed removal out of the corn, and Cimarron, or Ally, or Metsulfuron, if you will. Application rate ranges from 1 to 1.5 ounces per acre, and is going to provide control of small sandbur, 1 inch or less. So if you can get out there and identify a sandbur that's this tall, I'll be proud of you for a weed science perspective. Okay? I'll help you do that eventually. Large crabgrass, Johnson grass, and Basie grass. Basie grass are going to get suppression. If the grass has been there for a while, it's going to take more than one application to remove it. We're going to get suppression out of it. The Basie grass is going to look ugly, but eventually I think it will grow out of it. This afternoon when we go on our plot tours, I'm going to show you a Basie grass demo where we put out several different herbicides, and I'll show you the differences between them. I'm also going to show you a difference between Johnson grass and Basie grass itself. I believe a lot of us confuse the two, and when it comes to using some herbicide products, you could end up with a failure when you thought you had Johnson grass, and in fact you had Basie grass. So I'm going to show that to you as well. All right. Next on my agenda, what I wanted to talk to you about today is a project we started last year, and we're looking at safening Metsulfuron with 2,4-D. Why did we want to do that? Well, we talked about Bahia grass a little bit. One of the products we use to suppress Bahia grass in our Bermuda grass and stargrass and Hermonthria pastures is metsulfuron or Cimarron. Okay? So, that product obviously really injures Bahia grass. Alright? We've really had limited use of that product in Florida because of that fact. 70, 80, 90% of our pastures with Bahia grass. So we've never really recommended this herbicide. One of our toughest weeds that we try to control is blackberry. We know we can go out and spray it with Remedy. We'll burn the leaves off. Next year, it sprouts back up. We can go back out again, spray it again. The next year, it sprouts back up. With this metsulfuron product, we end up with a little bit more consistent control, where you can perhaps, instead of spraying every 6 months with Remedy, maybe space that out to every year. Plus, metsulfuron is just a little bit cheaper than Remedy overall. I say a little bit, it's a lot cheaper than Remedy. A little bit more consistent. So it's like, okay, can we use metsulfuron, spray it together with 2,4-D, safen it, and end up with effective blackberry control? So that's where this project came from. We actually got this idea from a trial when we were trying to remove Bahia grass out of Bermuda grass, and noticed we had a product called Cimarron Max. And what it is a combination of metsulfuron and Weed Master. And what we realized was when we mixed the Weed Master with the Cimarron, our Bahia grass control went to almost nothing. So that's why that's what kind of kicked my brain into gear. It's like, hey, let's use this to our advantage. So we went out with 6 different treatments, 0.3 to 0.5 ounces per acre of metsulfuron, and then also added a pint to the acre of 2,4-D. We applied these in the spring and the fall. I was targeting an application timing when the Bahia grass was not growing that well. You know, in the spring we're drought resistant, and I said fall is probably early winter. We didn't spray until late November, early December. All right. So if you've got your booklet, and then my graph's probably pretty in yours because I printed mine in color. But that's the figure 1. I think mine starts on page 18, perhaps. Anybody have that page? 20. Page 20. That's close. All right, so if you're looking at figure 1, the fall bars are the top bars in your graph, because I'm not sure how well this differentiates in your output there. Okay, so it's the lighter bar on your black and white copy is the fall application, and the spring is the darker bar in the graph. So this graph is comparing the 6 herbicide treatments along with our untreated and fall versus spring applications. If you look at the untreated, you can see we produced over 2,500 pounds of material. Let me back up a little bit. The spring application, we harvested 2 times. So this is a cumulative harvest of that following the spring application. The fall application is the following growing season where we had 12 inches of regrowth in our untreated plots. Okay? So, a little bit biased, but still I think we're ending up with some good results. So, if you look at the spring applications of metsulfuron by itself and compare it to the fall applications, so the 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 ounces of metsulfuron, and you can see it really didn't matter whether we applied it in the spring or the fall. You ended up with the same amount of biomass of Bahia grass, about half of what we produced in our untreated check. You start adding 2,4-D to it. When we had our spring applications, we did not see that much of a safening effect. But when you went to your fall application, and you look at 0.3 ounces of metsulfuron combined with the pint of 2,4-D, you can see there's no difference between it and our untreated check. So I think fall, we have a little bit better chance of safening the metsulfuron with the 2,4-D. I think Bahia grass is just a little bit more dormant. If you go to the next figure, this is just comparing the herbicide treatments averaged over both fall and spring applications. And this graph really points it out that if you do add the 2,4-D to the metsulfuron, you end up with some safening of the metsulfuron. Almost 3/4 of what the untreated was. So again, not what you would get from non-treated Bahia grass, but It's much better than it is with just metsulfuron alone. If you go to the next graph, it just has a spring versus a fall bar in it. And what this is pointing out is a fall application of metsulfuron or metsulfuron to plus 2,4-D is much safer on Bahia grass than a spring application would be. All right, so what's this tell us? We're continuing to go over this project. We have this project going on again right now. Once I have 2 years worth of data, I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable about this. I know metsulfuron has gone out in pastures where blackberry was a problem in Bahia grass this past fall. I've been through those pastures, and the pastures look really good. I can even tell that a metsulfuron type product was sprayed out there. The plots where I've actually looked at these herbicide combinations on blackberry have all resulted in excellent control of the blackberry. A little bit weaker at the 0.3 ounces per acre. You need about 0.4 to 0.5 ounces of metsulfuron to get it. But again, we're going to continue that product for this next coming year. What I'd like to do now, and I may open up a can of worms. What I'd like to do now is basically open the floor. If you guys have any specific weed control questions, feel free to ask them. Or if you have any questions about this, I'll entertain those as well. Yes, sir.
Basic grass and the lipo grass.
Basic grass and the lipo grass. This is a tough one. But what I'll show this afternoon, I think we have an option. We have generic plateau, impose, or panoramic. And I have had very little injury on that grass with those products. Impose or panoramic. And I'll show you that out in the field this afternoon. We did this in a Bermuda grass pasture, but I think it'll carry over into the Hermonthria as well. Okay?
Trade names here. Metsulfuron, is that Cimarron?
It used to be Cimarron. They have taken Cimarron by itself off the market. But there is a generic product called metsulfuron, just like on that sheet. There's one called Clean Pasture. There's about 15 different ones. I can't even remember all of them, but there's a lot.
Metsulfuron plus 2,4-D, is that Cimarron Max?
Sorry. Yeah, his question was about trade names for the metsulfuron, and there are several. Clean Pasture metsulfuron is the actual name. MSN 60 is another one. And Cimarron Max was a combination, which is still available, a combination of Cimarron plus Weedmaster. Is pre-packaged. But what I am talking about here is just a generic metsulfuron with 2,4-D, any 2,4-D product, amine formulation.
You said the effective results on the blackberry bush. How effective?
His question was, I said effective results on the blackberry bushes, and you want to know how effective. You're looking at 80-90% control within 6 months. And I got to go back this fall yet and look at those, but I'm expecting them to continue to hold because they look so good in the spring. Versus Remedy by itself, they were holding a little bit better. Yes, sir.
So what about Outrider? Does it have an effect on seaweed?
Does Outrider have an effect on seaweed? No, it does not. About the only weed Outrider will get effectively will be the sedges. You'll have some other random broadleaf weeds that really aren't that big of a problem that it will control. It does have some pre-emergence activity on Herbicide grass, but that's very short-lived. But sedges is primarily what Outrider is going to control.
For the seaweed and lipo grass, what is the recommendation?
Seaweed and lipo grass, what is the recommendation? My colleague and I sit around and talk about what sucks less for seaweed control. So in Hermonthria, it becomes even more difficult because it's so sensitive to a lot of the herbicides we use. But we can get some activity with the metsulfuron will have some activity, Telar will have some activity on it. Vanville by itself will have some activity, but less so than the Cimarron or metsulfuron products. Cimarron Plus would be another option. But
What was the third one, Doctor?
Cimarron Plus would be another option. That's just a combination of metsulfuron and tellur. You could use Banville, but I think it's more expensive and probably not going to give you the same level of control as the metsulfuron or the tellur or the Cimarron Plus. It's a tough weed, so there's not really a great answer for it. Yes?
What's your current feeling on what's best for palmetto control?
What's my current feeling for what's best on palmetto control? It's something that isn't labeled. And what we do have is you can go out with combinations of high rates of Remedy and metsulfuron and do an effective job, but you're going to have to come back within a year and spray them again. And we've had, believe it or not, we've had better success with broadcast applications than we have had with spot treating individual palmettos. So that kind of surprised me. Bahia and Bermuda grass? All right. His question was about controlling Bahia and Bermuda grass, correct? All right, so the reason I talk about the metsulfuron safety with 2,4-D is because I have never been able to kill Bahia grass and Bermuda grass with any of the products that say they will. If you get into the northern part of the southeast, they can effectively control Bahia grass with metsulfuron. I have not been able to do it in South Florida. As far as I know, my colleague has not been able to do it up in North Florida as well. So it's one of those things that we can suppress it. We can make Bahia grass look ugly for the growing season. But just plan on coming back the next year and spraying metsulfuron on it again to suppress it. Because you're not ever going to completely kill it. It's just going to be one of those things that keeps on coming back. Yes, ma'am?
Do you have to be licensed to buy the metsulfuron?
Do you have to be licensed to buy the metsulfuron? And no. If it is not a restricted use pesticide, you do not need a license to buy it. But just read the labels. If it says restricted use, you need a license. If it does not, you do not. Okay? Mr. Roy, or next, you had a question.
Oh, well, Roy and I were just discussing the best thing for palmettos is an L7 chopper.
Yes, you'll get suppression. Yes, sir.
About mint bush and like Bahia pasture.
Mint bush and Bahia pasture. I'm not sure which mint bush we're talking about.
It's kind of similar to the seaweed, but it's mint. It's that, you spray it, it looks like it's dying, and then it come back out, later on in the spring.
And it's tall right now and it's flowering right now. And it smells horrible when you mow it, right? Okay, that's the one I thought you were talking about, but I wasn't positive. I haven't had really good success killing it with anything either, but our farm crew manager, we sprayed our patches out here this spring with Remedy, and I haven't seen many come back, so I'm not sure if they poured a little bit extra than they should have, or what happened. I haven't asked them, but they did end up with some pretty good control this year. And it may be the fact that we were just in a wetter spring, and spraying the Remedy when it was actively growing, we were able to take it out. Or previous springs where I tried to spray it, we knocked it back, but it ended up coming back on us. So that could be the reason. I'm guessing at that for right now. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Way in the back. Goat weed. And? Bahia grass. Okay, goat weed and Bahia grass. This one used to be a really big thorn in my side when I first got here, but I think as long as we're at 2 quarts per acre or 2,4-D, you're going to do a pretty good job with it. If you have something other than Bahia grass, like Bermuda grass or star grass, Cimarron is a little bit better, or metsulfuron is a little bit better on it. You can even add some 2,4-D to it, and and do even a little bit better than the methoxypyron by itself on the goat weed. So, okay. We still have time? Yes. Okay.
Speaking of prowl, H2O, for Guinea Grass, would that be a spring application or a winter application?
Be a dormant application. Be a dormant application. So yes, it'd be a winter app.
And it would extend through the whole growing season?
It'll extend most of the way through it. That's another product we don't have a lot of experience with down here. I'm afraid that it's going to run out quicker than the experts think. I'm afraid if we get into a really rainy summer season that it'll be gone by July. So that is a concern with it being a somewhat pricey herbicide. I'm scared that we won't have the carryover we need, especially with Sandbur, because when's it start emerging? Late June, early July.
Second, can we mix a herbicide with a insecticide? So one spray application for both?
The short answer is yes. The long answer is read the label and make sure it's a compatible mix before you put it in your spray. That's the biggest limitation. I don't have any problems with it as far as being active on the weed. I think you're still going to have it. I don't think you'll have any problems with the activity on the worms as well. It's just make sure that the tank mix is compatible. Okay. Yes.
Greenbrier on grass, black on grass.
Last question, I hope. Greenbrier control in grass without killing the grass. Good luck. We can suppress it. We can make it look ugly. I sound like a broken record now, don't I? But we really don't have anything that will effectively control it without digging it up and taking it somewhere. It's the tuber on those plants is just so huge, and the wax on the leaves is so thick, you can't get enough herbicide in there to get down to that tuber and kill it. So it is a really, really tough plant.
What were you presenting?
Greenbrier. Wait a minute, Vine. Any other questions? We got time? We still got time? Okay, I thank you for your attention. I'm going to try to be as loud as I can. Can everybody hear me? Okay. What I'm going to do is show you 3 grasses first, mainly because there's a couple labels, and if you don't know the grasses that well, it can really hurt you. I talked about Outrider first thing this morning, and Johnson grass is on that herbicide as it will control Johnson grass. The problem is a lot of people call basic grass Johnson grass. And Outrider does not have any post-emergence activity on Johnson grass whatsoever. That's why I want to be sure that you know what Johnson grass is and what basic grass is. That way you know not to put Outrider out on basic grass. Okay?
Brent, the one you put on the wagon, is that Johnson?
That's actually Guinea grass. I'm going to get to that in a minute. All right. This is what I hold in my hand is Johnson grass. I don't have enough samples. I had to raid this out of my wheat garden because Johnson grass really is not that prominent in South Florida. When you get in the northern part of Florida is where it starts picking up in density. One of the major key characteristics of Johnson grass is this rhizome. This white thing here. If you dig it up and you see something about as big around as your pinky, and it looks a little bit like corn, it's Johnson grass. That's as easy as it can be. A lot of times the plant will be reddish at the bottom. There's no hairs on it. The midrib of the leaf is very prominent. The leaf blade is much wider than basic grass. No hair on it whatsoever. All right? Now the one that I passed around, if I don't have any more samples of, was Guinea grass. There it is. You can go ahead. continue to pass it around.
Say the name again?
Guinea grass.
Guinea.
Guinea.
Ah, Guinea. Oh. Guinea.
I know a lot of you probably don't know grass anatomy that well, but if you pull the leaf blade back away from the stem, you'll see a little tuft of hair sticking up. And it's very short. It's called a hairy ligule. If you look at the leaf blade itself, which is starting to dry up on me, the top of the leaf blade is very hairy. Literally short hairs that you can barely see. You can see them underneath the microscope. But if you rub your finger against it, it feels soft. This is a weed that we see in a lot of hay fields that have been converted from old groves. And so far, we do not have an effective herbicide to control it. We can suppress it, but that's about it. This is Guinea grass. All right, so hairy ligule, hairy leaves, very soft to the touch, kind of wimpy when you look at it overall. Cows will eat it. Very nutritious, actually.
It's good for it.
Good
for it.
The other thing is the seed head. It's very different from basic grass, somewhat similar to Johnson grass, but it's much more open than Johnson grass is. Okay?
Kind of more pine tree looking shape.
Sure. Sure.
Brent, why would somebody be so anxious to try to kill that basic grass? Cattle won't eat that, and yet that Guinea grass, at least cattle, it's not cold tolerant, but at least cattle eat it.
If you want to produce pure, high-quality hay, that was what people want to be getting rid of it.
But you said in those orange groves, and about the only grass in there might be that.
I'm saying if you converted it from a bush grove to a hay field, then you'd want to know what that is. You wouldn't want to think it was basic grass or anything, because we really don't have anything to control it. All right, you guys will pass that one around. Got all kinds of stuff there. Oops, sorry. All right, for basic grass, the first thing you should notice is the seed head. Looks like the hair grass seed head. Looks nothing like Guinea grass. If I had Johnson grass, I'd show you it looks nothing like Johnson grass either. Okay? If you look at the plant, if you look at the base of the plant, the ones that are being passed around, they're actually short, stiff hairs around the stem of the plant. Neither Guinea grass or Johnson grass has those hairs. Another thing, when you pull back this leaf blade and you look at the ligule, it's a little brown membrane that sticks up. So it's not a hairy ligule like Guinea grass was. There's no hair on the leaves. These leaves actually feel rough. They're not soft. And another thing is a lot of times the edge of the leaf will appear wavy. So when you get the plants, look at the leaf blades, you'll see the wavy blade on one side. All right? So everybody got that in their head now?
What control is that?
What's that?
What control is that?
What controls basic grass? That's what I'm going to talk to you about next.